This is Amaria Suite with HeartMind Expressions and Soma Fusion. Really quick to do a couple plugs. We are excited about our Savvy Fitwear line. It's women empowering women of all sizes, ages, shapes, and everything else diversity. And you can go find this at savvy.com. So it's SAVVI.com / Soma Fusion / shop. So really excited for that amazing line. Check it out. And also iEvolveTV, Rev Radio Las Vegas, and C4OC Radio Network. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. I'm really excited for our guest today. Really amazing friend of mine. And he's written this book called Playing Games with Purpose. See if I don't get a glare on it, and really awesome stuff in here. I'm going to just kind of introduce him a little bit on his acknowledgments, and then there's a disclaimer that he's asked me to read that I think is a really great idea. So I'm just going to read it here in the third person. Eric's quantum intent is that the information found within this book assists you and humanity in the awakening of purpose here on this planet. Special thanks to God, Source, Higher Power, the universe, energy, or whatever you want to call that source of energy, Tyler Nathan, Jordan McKay, and Morgan Ashley Tolman for loving me unconditionally. I'm grateful to have you in my life. I guess I ended up going back into first person there. I love and honor our journey together in this lifetime. So that's his awesome family. Christine Turner, who co authored the book, for her loving assistance in mentoring me in writing this book, for the amazing process she adds to it. All my past, present, future friends, and family who believe in me, who are assisting me on my journey. I love you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So here we go. On the disclaimer, it says the views and opinions expressed in this book or website or webcast, of course, are solely those of the original author and other contributors. These views and opinions do not necessarily represent those of the publisher. I am not a doctor, nor do I claim to cure any cause, condition, or disease. I do not provide medical advice or claim to be a doctor or dietitian. This is merely an opinion book. The information held in this book is merely opinion of a layman individual. I'm not a doctor, nor do I claim to have any formal medical background. I'm not liable either expressly or in an implied manner, nor claim any responsibility for any emotional or physical problems that may occur directly or indirectly from reading this book. All information intended, or of course, listening to this webcast, is only to help you to cooperate with your doctor in your efforts towards desirable health. And only your doctor can determine what is right for you. In addition to regular checkups and medical supervision from your doctor, before starting any other program, you should consult with your personal physician. All information is generalized, presented for informational purposes only. No medical, or excuse me, not medical advice, and presented as is without warranty or guarantee of any kind. Readers are cautioned not to rely on this information as medical advice and to consult a qualified medical, dietary, fitness, or other appropriate professional for their specific needs. This information has not been evaluated by the FTC, FDA, or any other government agency, and that this information does not exceed it to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. That is like the most thorough disclaimer I have gone through. I'm impressed there, Eric. So after that nice breath work. So, it's been really fun getting to know you. You've been really an awesome friend, and I've really been impressed with this book. Um, there's a lot of amazing information in here that I was really impressed with, especially just kind of the way that you've taken games, your little acronym here. It's really cool. And where he talks about gratitude, affirmation, meditation, energize, and service is where he spells out games on here. And so, do you want to just kind of briefly run through what it is that kind of really inspired you to write your book and go from there?
Sure. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. And thanks for reading that lovely forward, man. It choked me up just like hearing it read, from somebody
Oh,
else. I'm like, I hadn't heard it
cool.
in a long time. And so I
Beautiful.
appreciate that so much. So
Yeah.
it's a fantastic opportunity. And so what happened to me was I'm a realtor by trade. And in 2009, when the market was shifting and everything was, going downward, so was my income and my attitude and all this other jazz. And I had bought into the brass ring, ultimately play the game, spin the wheel, go around twice, become a realtor, make all this money, and you'll be happy, right?
Right.
And I achieved all the goals that I set out to do and have and be. I had the big house, the 3.2 kids, the marriage, all the stuff that I thought was so important, right? And when my world came crashing down around me, so did my identity. And what I realized that I put who I was into all this external information, and I had been trained that way from the very beginning,
Right.
coming from a broke family. I didn't want to be poor, right? I didn't want to be broke. I wanted to show, I want to prove something. My whole life, I've come to find out, is that most of my stuff, when I get to the end of it, is like I'm trying to prove something to somebody, but nobody's paying attention except for myself. And
Yeah.
felt very empty and decided that, I wanted to I wasn't happy at all. And I just started drinking like a fish. And, and I eventually, after about 4 months, I got divorced. I'm, doing my thing. I'm almost homeless, and I'm like, you know, and, I got to that place in my life where I, had to turn to something,
Mm.
and I started writing myself out of this. And one of the greatest lessons I learned, coming out of this place that I was going, this tailspin, was, you have to write to get right, and so ultimately, the stuff up here, will ping your mind all day long, but until you write it down, you don't make the connection between your head and your heart. It's only just noise, and all this stuff. And so I started writing, and the gratitude list was the turning point for me. Even so, I hated it so bad. Like I was in a place that was so low that suicide was an option. And I'm like, so I'm writing myself out of this, and people will go through this as they start to write a gratitude list. They'll have the internal dialogue and all that stuff, and I did, and it was like yada 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 yada, and I continue to do this, and continue until I'm like starting to turn a corner. I'm like, sunshine breaks through, and so
Cool.
I decided, hey, I'm gonna write a book, about games, because the games we've been taught to play. I remember the very moment I was sitting in a T. Harv Eckerd money mastermind,
I
thing where
think
I was,
that's where we met the first time,
yeah.
2013, right?
I was like, yeah, I'm like, I got, I'm just in there trying to get the money, money's, gonna be make me happy, right? And I remember them doing this NLP crap on me and stuff, that I am a master of and I understand. And I'm like, oh yeah. And we're doing all this stuff to get to our point in our lives, as far as to raise our income. And so ultimately I played that game. I knew the rules to that game. And they're like, get in the money game, da 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 da. And I'm like, what the hell is this game they're talking about? Because the rules that I've been playing by, I see a lot of people that are wealthy that are divorced, they're overweight, they're unhappy. There's just so many things that, is not desirable to me anymore. So, like, what is this game? What is it all about? I know that one, where it's all about attainment, exterior stuff. And so I'm like, all right, let's look at the whole dynamics of the word game, at that point. And I started breaking it down, and like trying to come up with this, creative way to like change the rules to the game for me.
Right.
And what happened was, like I said, the gratitude was saving my life. And I'm like, yeah, it's the first thing, because ultimately, before you, it's what I recommend in the book, is before your feet hit the floor every morning when you wake up, you already have a list of things that are going on in your mind that you think are so important, that you think that you have to do. Like, you gotta, mow the lawn, you gotta feed the cow, and it's like all this stuff, boom, 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 boom. And so, and then we got these big list of goals and things that we think, oh yeah, it's gonna be joy and happiness. And what I would strongly recommend in the book is that you write a gratitude list or reread your gratitude list if you're way too busy, right? Because that's what we use as an excuse. We're too busy for gratitude, right? And so we go off and run around like crazy people with no purpose or direction, and think that, hey, if I get enough money, then I'm going to be like, whoo, I'm going to be good to my family, right? And all of this stuff. And so it happened to me. And so I recommend gratitude as your first daily opportunity, because the most important people, places, and things on that list, you'll always remember to touch and pay attention to throughout your day. So it's like, yay, that's pretty cool. I'm digging that. And so, and then I'm like, I came across the book from Louise L. Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. And
Oh, that's such a good book.
so, like, she is the affirmation queen. I even quote
Yes.
her little thing in there, and she's a beautiful spirit now, and always was a beautiful woman and empowering and everything. But when I heard her story about how she, like, you know, came from where she was to get to where she was, made it to, and she was just such a beautiful spirit. Then I was like, affirmations, man. Yeah, we gotta affirm why. Now we're grateful. Now, why are we going to do something? These powerful affirmation statements, and the easiest way to start these are, there's three components. They have to be positive, present tense, and personal. Okay. And the fourth thing is they can't be BS, because
Right.
I don't care. Your heart will always override your
You
mind
have to
every
be
time.
authentic. Yep. It so
Eh,
sabotages.
yeah.
So crazy.
And so, yeah, and so the easiest way to start those out is I am, and just take ownership and then move from there. And my favorite one that I've been running for a long time is, the more I play, the more opportunity comes my way, because I just play at my life. And it's just such an adventure today. And I'm so grateful for it every freaking day. It's like I have the best life. And, I tell people to have the best day of their life
I love that.
every day. And so it's like,
That's really cool. You got me saying it to people now.
and it's such a beautiful thing. And so as we move up the tiers, like this gratitude, you can just, the minute you're writing this out, you can feel your energy shifting into a different energy, a different vibration. You're automatically, you can feel it, right? And then you move into affirmation. You take ownership of why you're grateful and why your life is so spectacular and all this stuff. And then then you move into this arena called meditation. And the funny
Oh,
part
yeah.
about meditation for me is, as I'm writing the book, I remember the very first time I tried meditating, right? After reading Meditation for Beginners and stuff like that. And I would set the clock. I would set the clock for like a minute, right? I could do a minute, right? It's gonna do a minute, right? And then I sit down, and then there's like, and then your mind just becomes bombarded with this stuff. And it's like, you got to clean the toilet, you haven't done that. It's like, I haven't thought about that in 6 months. Why you're talking to me now about this stuff, and it's like crazy. And I'm like, get past that minute, and I'm like, whew, it's the craziest thing. And the good thing I read the book, because it prepared me that your mind will absolutely go insane,
Oh, yeah.
And the big picture that I had, because I grew up in the 70s and 80s, was, meditation was for like the guys that shave their head, how to
Right.
beat a tambourine and work the airport part times on the weekend. I'm like, what? I'm like, I can't do that. I'm never going to be able to meditate, right? And so the fun part is I know that so many people are thinking that when we get to this part, but I've already trained you to meditate, because writing gratitude lists is an active form of meditation.
Yep.
And when you repeat your affirmation statement, that's your mantra for your life. That's your daily thing. Nobody says that you have to be in a corner or in a monastery to learn meditation. There's so many different ways that you can get there. And the beautiful part now, our interview is just so big, like it's just so fun, because now you remember what you're grateful for, you affirmed yourself and your life, and you touched whatever you believe in through meditation. And then you increase your energy, and your energy is so amazing. And when you do this, there's no reason you need a diet book or exercise program, because it's already on your effing gratitude list.
Right.
Your health and your well-being are on there. And if your name isn't on your gratitude list, I encourage you strongly to put it on there. Write it in, permanent marker, whatever you got to do, because you're the most important person on your gratitude list.
Right.
And it
That
just continues
self-love is so
to build.
important.
Yeah. And so as this continues to build, we move into like, wow, I'm just like over full, right? I'm just so full of this energy, and you can't help but serve humanity. There's no way you can go. There's too many people that run out. I'm like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
serving humanity. I'm doing such a good thing. But they forget to take care of their well-being, right? And so you can't pour water from an empty jug, the Buddha says. And so it's like you got to take time for yourself, get some of that healthy selfishness that the Dalai Lama talks about, and just really fill up. And then you walk around and people they go, what kind of medication you on? I'm like, no, it's meditation, dude.
I like that. I like
Yeah.
that.
And so that's how it all came about. And since then I've just been writing, I'm enjoying my life. And it just, for myself, it's always expanding, because this book was written, almost not, it was going on 8 years this year, right?
Right.
The interesting part about every bit of it for me is it's continually expanding, right? Because every topic that we just talked about is an expansion to your highest self. And it's like, like I would be lying and say, hey, this is the absolute and this is the go-to. No, this was the beginning phases of my life that has expanded to what I live today. And it's just
That's
it's
awesome.
such a ride. I love it to pieces. So
Well, it's
that's
amazing
where
you were
we're at.
able to go from where you were so quickly, because a lot of people can go even longer than what you did, like 20, 30 years in that dark night of the soul. You're able to really plow through that. That's amazing. It's really amazing.
Yeah, I've had, some experience there before, and I just returned to the, most important people that, assisted me in the past,
Oh, that's
to
awesome.
get that energy right. Even they love me even when I didn't love myself, and so I'm just so grateful for those people, like you mentioned in my book, my kids and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
that's so cool.
Amazing.
You have
So
such a neat family. I'm just checking really quick on people that are watching to see if
uh,
anybody has made any comments here.
okay.
Let's see. So far, knock on wood, we got things working. Oh
Oh,
yay!
nice.
Awesome. So we don't have any questions now. Anybody that is listening, you're always welcome to call in. Of course, if you have any questions. I'm not seeing the phone number. Usually, she has the phone number posted, but if not,
Yeah.
just go ahead and post below. You can always ask questions. And so, but I that's one thing that I've really been impressed with. Is just kind of seeing your growth from whenever I first met you, and because you've always just been real fun to just share things and be like, hey, what's going on? whatever wise, super soldier wise, or all the junk that goes on these days with the jab, or just all the
Hmm.
interesting information. And then just you could really palpable like feel your energy as it's been raising. And so it's really cool. I mean, this book, guys, is amazing. Just the activities that it has you do, just like he says, it's a type of meditation when you're writing things down. And when you're doing your affirmations, why don't you go for a walk? You're also doing that kinesthetic movement. You could be going in nature, touching your trees, going grounding barefoot. Um, I mean, I love this. You just look at you went through the 5 fundamentals. Um, they explain how you do the games, how they change the rules, how you integrate, what to expect. I mean, it's so well laid out. And then each one, like with the gratitude, he just really goes in and he breaks it up so much. Affirmations just breaks it up. And it goes on just beautifully. And so you can get your book over on Amazon.
Yeah.
Do
Hmm.
you have your Amazon address that you wanted to add, or I guess I could write that down. I didn't even think
No
to write.
worries. I don't have it
Oh, you don't. Well,
available.
we can
So
we'll just post that later. We can
type it
always
in.
get that
Yeah.
right. We'll type that in. It's an amazing book. I agree with just really digging in whenever you get into your own psyche, get to know yourself, and really truly start to love yourself. It shows. And I gotta say, I'm really proud of you. It's awesome to see another friend coming out, because I mean, I've been there. I've attempted twice. I know what it's
Mhm.
like. I've been homeless. I've lost everything. And sometimes we take gambles, we take risks, we lose, sometimes we win, sometimes life happens and shit's all over you. But I think when we can come out of that, kind of like a phoenix rising out of the ashes, and just really be able to grab onto who we are and learn who we are, like, what is it that I really want in life? What do I really love about myself? And in that gratitude list that I was doing, because I did it again with
Mhm.
your book, of course, just writing down things like that. I'm grateful that
Mhm.
I can see that I've got a roof over my head, that I'm able to work jobs, I'm able to think coherently. I mean, just little things. And I take it to the max, and I wrote 100 of them. And it's hard to do. I mean, if anybody listening has ever written gratitudes, a lot of people might think, oh, 10, 15, 20. Try to do 100. You're going to be like, oh, and you'll really realize, what are you grateful for? And then, like, really start narrowing it down to who you are. And so that's really cool that you were able to make that self discovery through writing your book like that. It's pretty
Thanks.
awesome.
And you can totally change your house energy and your office energy, by putting up a whiteboard at the front entrance of the house or the office door, and everybody that comes through, it's like cleansing the energy, with crystals and stuff. But if they are invited to write a gratitude list, or
Oh,
a
that's so
gratitude
cool.
or gratitude, just one word of gratitude as they walk through your place of business or your house, right? Their energy will shift into a different energy than it was when they got to the door. And if they don't want to do it, just invite them to go outside until they become grateful and then come back inside. because because this is a drama-free zone, and
Right.
we don't need any of this silliness here. And it's like, go outside until you figure it out, right? And so,
Bye. That's
and
so
the fun
funny.
part about it is, like, you talked about, the pits of despair, all that stuff. We all go through, like, our hero's journey. Have you ever heard
Right.
of Joseph Campbell hero's journey? It's like the
Yes.
narrative for any movie, right?
Mm.
So we all go through that. And just pay attention, because you're a powerful manifester, and all the good and all the bad you think you're having is a direct result of your intention, or your lack of focused intention, that is getting you what you're currently going through now. Because it's all good at the end of the day.
Right.
Everything you can be grateful
Well, and it's like,
for,
what are
because
we
it expands you.
allowing? Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly. It's an awareness point, that heightens your gratitude, your affirmations, your energy, your meditation, to, like, go inward, right? And
Right.
to get it. So Yeah, that's what I strongly recommend is, to, expand on your own self. You came here by yourself
Yeah.
through other people, and this is your journey, your own experience, your life, and and every opportunity that comes your way. It's a beautiful expansion in your life.
Really cool.
And then in my world today, it's like not good and bad. It's like some of the lessons are harder than the other ones, and some of the teachers that taught me those lessons, I don't want to sign up for the classes anymore.
No. Yeah, there's a few of those. I'm like, yeah, I think I'm checking out of this class.
Yeah,
And
we all had to like, take a certain set of classes in school or college to graduate, right? And some of the teachers were more impactful and more enlightened and more charismatic and all that other stuff. And some of the lessons we learned, we had to just grind through just because we wanted something so badly, right? Whether it be the degree or just to say, prove to yourself that you could take these classes. But that's just life. Everything that comes at you has been brought to you by your higher self in harmony with your current self, this in this meat suit right here, which allows you to expand all the way around here and there. And this is just a simple way to get started, right? And it will put you on the road to your best self. And then from there, you take this information to other parts of your life. And to me today, again, I can't stress it enough that, I am the most powerful manifester in my own life. I got everything that's coming to me, and I'm so grateful for it because every opportunity that I had, even if it looks like, oh man, he's like drinking himself to death or he's lost everything, is the greatest opportunity and lesson for me to expand my own consciousness, and my energy, and an amazing ride, and I'm just grateful every day. I just love it so much. That's why I tell people to have the best day of their life
I love that.
because we only got today, and I just encourage everybody to take advantage of it. Be ridiculous. Be weird. Be
Yes. You gotta
you
have
know
fun. I mean, come on.
you know raise your freak flag.
Right.
Fly it high. And it's like because no, at the end of the day, nobody pays your bills. Nobody makes you happy. All these things outside of yourself are ephemeral and they come and go. Just like in the beginning where I thought, hey, this was who I am. I'm so steeped in everything that I own and everything that I look like. That at the end of the day, that lesson was the greatest opportunity to free me from that game, because that's a rough life, man. Where you're just grinding out existence just to show everybody in the world that this is who you are because of the things you have, right? Don't get me wrong, I enjoy all those things now, but they're not me. Okay, there's a difference between ownership of myself and this opportunity and what I'm grateful for, and putting labels on top of me. Like at the beginning of the before we got started, your friend asked me, so what am I or what am I,
Right.
right? And it's like, okay, what labels do you want me to draw from? It's like there's just so many that people think I do and am, but I'm none of those, and I'm all of
Right.
those at the same time.
That's kind of like
So,
the role that you're playing in life. One of the things I love to do whenever I do a circle of excellence with my clients when I'm doing NLP is the I am principles, like I am love, I am or loving, I am a grateful person, or those kind of things. I think rather than focusing on what we do or our roles that we play. So
right.
yeah, it was funny. I was kind of thinking that too. And I'm like, that's funny because all three of us are really into the psychology stuff. And I'm like, ooh, how can we make this a lot better too?
So we all have a suitcase or like a mantle of archetypes we can draw from at any given moment. And it's
Right.
so fascinating, especially if you get into the dynamics of each archetype or thing, your role that you're playing, in your life. It's fantastic. It's
Just so
fascinating to me.
super cool. Love it.
Yeah.
So there's a phone number to call in, 929-436-2866. The ID number is 522-657-2748. And that's in the comments here from Soma Fusion. Thank you so much, Katie, for posting that. For those that want to call in, if there's any questions, of course. So wow,
Yeah.
this has been really fun. I've been looking forward to it. We were wanting to do this, of course, a couple months ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
When lots of fun things happen. So, but I think everything, of course, has its timing. Sometimes things take a little longer. Sometimes things slide into place very quickly, and it's really amazing how the law of attraction in the universe works like that. Something that I've experienced as well, just like using these types of principles, just like what Eric talks about in his book. Whenever we're able to really identify what is it that you want, what are you know, what really drives you. And I love that the core driving emotion that you talked about one day whenever I was like, what's something I could really hone in on a little bit more, and just even more so getting down to the detail. I really like that because I think
Yeah.
the more that we can focus on actually, like if you want a certain car, okay, what color is it? Like, does it have a type of, interior that you like? Do you want a certain rack on your car? Whatever you're doing, it's like me. I know what I want. I'm on my turquoise Jeep, and it's gonna be a Rubicon, and it's gonna have that rack on the top, your luggage rack thing or whatever. Oh yeah, we got that. That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah,
So yeah,
the universe loves you to pieces, and it will give you everything you ask for. But
absolutely.
you got to be specific, because you could be driving down the road and you're like, and you think to yourself, I'm hungry, right? And all of a sudden you see all these stupid billboards that are popping with food on them, right?
Yeah.
Well, then when you go, yeah, that's nice, but I really want Indian food, right? From this specific restaurant, and your car just starts driving there, right? And that's how it works. It's like you got to
It really does.
because like, hey, I want a huge stack of money, it's like, in what currency, why, it's like, where's it gonna come from?
Yeah.
I know, it's like, it's like that. So you got to be specific, and
Right.
your intent, has to be purposeful. And sometimes, and I would encourage you that you always review it, because I always have stuff in front of me all the time right here. You can't see it, but my whole day's a vision board and all that stuff. So, in this book is we talk about that too, just so to how to create this interactive vision board for your life, where you take your gratitude affirmations and put it to music, and like create this opportunity for you to play on your mobile
Heck
devices if you
yeah.
want to. So
Full on joyful soundtrack. That's what I'm dancing to. I'm getting those
yeah.
bends too, doing all that construction.
I
Oh
could have
man.
swore yours was the Rocky theme song. Dinner,
Dun,
dinner.
dun.
Yeah, there you
Oh man.
go.
It's been interesting, like because I'm working on the Pocatello Mormon LDS Temple work job site, and we've been doing a lot of the
Yeah.
cleanup and stuff for the people. And the first day I went, there was this one guy. He was just kind of, who took my stuff? I mean, he was just grouchy, and I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna make this guy smile. And at
Yeah.
first he looks at me, so I was like, good morning. He's all, and like now, like because it's been what 5 days almost, I guess 4 days. We're in tomorrow would be day 5. I go in and I'm like, good morning. He's like, hey. And so I'm like, yes. And we're singing
It's
and
working.
dancing, and everyone's just like, I thought the radio was on. And so,
Yeah.
even if you can't sing, there's some of these guys that are totally singing with me, and it's so much fun. And I'm like, gosh, why don't we do that with life? Like, I love your
Yeah.
the board idea. I think I might have to
Yeah.
do that for my front door. Like, you're gonna write some gratitudes here. We're gonna make this
Yeah.
house fun.
Yeah.
Oh
So
shoot, that's awesome.
you can't impact somebody's energy at the level they're at. So the important thing is what you're doing is that, yeah, you see, you know, him, and he could impact your day if you let him go, if you went to his energy, right?
Right.
And so, but you chose to like, hey, we're gonna like, you know, share our energy and just be joyful and just be positive and say
Yeah.
hi, you know, and interact with people and humanity at that level. And at that point, there you're bringing people up. You know, it's the
Right.
same with, you know, illness or disease. You know, imagine if you walked into the room, you know, somebody's dying of cancer or something like that, something horrible that, you know, and you walked in there, you're just like in the pity pot with them, like, oh, you
Mm,
know, it's like so, but, you know, but if you walk in there, it's like, yeah, you know, with this super high energy that is created, you know, on a daily basis, if you plug into it and you just pumped it, you know, your energy up, you don't have to, you know, empathy and sympathy, the two
yeah.
different places, you know. So if you walk in
Right.
with empathy with a high level of energy, you can actually shift that disease. Again, I'm not a doctor. I don't pretend to be one. But the same thing is as simple as like changing a person's attitude. You can change a person, your chemistry first, your whole physiology, your whole energy, your how you impact yourself shines. It actually shines out of you, and you can't stop doing it. Because
It
people,
really does. And
you know,
people are complimenting, because it's like, how often do you go onto a construction site when everyone's just like, gosh, everything you're doing is so beautiful, or you're doing such a great job. Usually they're just like, come on, let's get going. We got this to clean up or this
yeah,
to do, and here's the project thing. And
yeah,
just watching people light up when you're just like, this really is beautiful work, guys. And they're just like, oh, thanks. It's just fun to do
exactly,
that. Just
exactly.
lift people up every way that you can. I think is great.
It all starts at home. This home
Yes,
right
it
here, this little
does.
home right here,
It really does.
and it all starts with you, and then it just you can't help but just like radiate this information
Right.
to everybody that you come in contact with, and so.
Love it.
And don't get me wrong, you know, the gratitude dude has a bad day once in a while, but it's short lived, right?
Right.
Because I changed a lot of my life, you know, doesn't mean that I have some old character defects in my life that kind of come through, right? It's like, whoops,
Well, and I think
haven't.
it's human to express emotion. I mean, I do it as well. We all, even as positive as I can get, we have days when we cry, we have days when we're upset, when we're frustrated, or we're like, why did I do that? Or, and then it's like, get over it as quick as you can. Just compassionately witnessing and let it come up and get her done.
Yeah, and the quickest way is to just start writing a gratitude list. It's easy. It's so easy. It's like
I know you kicked my butt. I'll be like,
you'll be
oh
like so
man,
grumpy. Yeah,
have a hard day. Where's your gratitude? Oh yes, touche.
exactly. It's the most important. It's so fascinating to me. Like, you know, when people are in that space of like being grumpy or like, you know, they've had a bad day, they want to kick the dog, you know, do all that stuff,
Yeah.
right? They're so far removed from themselves and their gratitude in their life, you know, they can't see the forest because of the trees kind of deal. They're so deep into it, right?
Well, I think also too, when you think about it, like people aren't allowing themselves to have their basic needs being met because they're codependent on something else. Maybe thinking somebody's going to give them something from an exterior source instead of being able to be alone with them themselves, happy in that moment, grateful in that moment with that list and those affirmations, but being able to be okay with whatever is right there and just being with it is so important to
Exactly.
be able to do.
Exactly. I concur.
Cheers. We
Mm,
got the awesome tea going on.
mm,
So now, as far as for would you like for people to get a hold of you? Like if somebody has a question or they're wanting to contact you?
Oh, you can dial down my number. It's out there. It's probably on every bathroom wall.
Oh my gosh. That's
It's
so
so
funny.
funny. You can email me at my email, erictolman@gmail.com. You could send me the email there or my phone number out of, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, let's start with the Gmail. That's great. erictolman@gmail. That's great. Send
Awesome.
me an email request or say, hey, tell me about how grateful you are, whatever floats your boat.
Love it. You've been such a delightful friend to get to know, and this I'm really impressed, like I said, with the book. So much so I was using my son's book. I got him one because I wore mine out.
Right on.
So I was like, I'll show the good one. So I'm like, I'm stealing your
Listen,
book for the show.
hold up the good one. Let's see the good one. Let me see the front cover of the good one. Oh, yeah, cool.
Yeah, I wore
Right
mine
on.
out. When I get into a good book, I get into a good book. So
Right on.
so really awesome. Thank you so much, guys, for listening again. Thank you so much, Katie from Soma Fusion, iEvolveTV, Rev Radio, Las Vegas, C4OC Radio Network, and of course, Savvy Fitwear for empowering women in diversity of all sizes and ages. Savvy.com, savvi.com/Soma Fusion/shop. Thanks so much, guys, for listening this evening. This has been Amaria Sweet with HeartMind Expressions and Eric Tolman. Thanks so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me. See ya. Have